what happened with the ASQ is in a staff meeting, Marie mentioned this program, and it's like, oh, lights were going off for me. It's like having the 4 children and not having family and not having the support sometimes of having family or somebody to go to, was sometimes difficult. Our friends became our family that you would go and check into. Now, even with my experience of early childhood, that it was like pre-family, pre-marriage, the whole thing, there would be times that I would find myself not sure what they should be doing, and when they got into school, I realized that if I knew beforehand that maybe I could have done something. And when I found out about the ASQ, that's what I liked. As a parent, I looked at it and say, oh, dang nabbit, where was it for me, for my kids? But I found that this was something, it was a tool, easy to use. It offered variety, it offered support, and that's why I liked it. That's why I fell in love with it. I know a lot of families were thinking that it was geared to finding something wrong with my child. And I'm hoping that you guys help us, let people know more about it. And that's where I am. The next question you guys have is just about how you learned about the MFN. Now we wanted to know how you learned about the ASQ and what made you decide to do the ASQ. I know that you have those questions, and we just kind of want to take it from there.
Ian, we're wondering about the ASQ.
So we had been getting the MFN communications. I think we just signed up for them when I might have still been pregnant. And as we learned about this, it seemed, I believe in the newsletter, it just seemed like a really helpful way for us to learn more about where our son was. And I think the newsletter referred us to get in touch with Bernadette. And I think when our son was 10 months old, that was when we did our first one.
What made you decide to do the ASQ? Was there anything with Ned that you wanted?
We just had no frame of reference for where he was. We would see other babies, and at that age, they're all just lying there. And we would look at books, and all the books said different things, and it's hard to know. Or you're comparing your kid to other people's kids, which is always,
that's
bad news to hear. Some more objective assessment of where he was, so we could stop making ourselves crazy by Googling things.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. We heard the same way as Annie was saying, that we received the emails, the circulars that you guys sent out. So we read about it on that. And it was something we didn't know that the MFN offered. By that point, we'd been to the play groups, we'd been to the drop-in dates, and then we sort of started to, I suppose, through that sort of realized that there was a whole series of different programming that you guys ran. The ASQ being the first one that we used, and then we've sort of also used a couple of others since. So it was really that. It was through the email that you guys send. I'm not sure how frequently it was on that. So we read about it. As to why we decided to do it, so like I mentioned earlier, we didn't really have any sort of experience with a previous child. We had, like Annie was saying, kind of no sort of frame of reference. So in a sense, it kind of allowed us to contextualize in some ways kind of part of Liam's development, how he's developing, kind of how that sort of compares to other children of his age at similar phases, similar stages. We didn't sort of see it as a way of getting concerned or worried, because we sort of had early intervention for the gross motor, and it was seen as, okay, so that's fine, that's good. He's we have a sense of where he's at in terms of his social and his other sort of areas of development. With gross motor, it seems to be a little behind whatever curve he should be on the word should, of course, I use sort of very kind of loosely, but also it's that, okay, so if there's a service that will allow us to sort of work on different activities that will allow him to develop in that area, like with some of the other resources you guys have given us. So we had some sort of resources we could sort of use in terms of communication, social skills, and so forth. But again, it was just a way for us to just know a little bit more about something that we genuinely kind of don't know that much about. Our experience is kind of so hyper focused on our child that kind of needed to sort of look a little bit sort of broader and wider and see, okay, so kind of where are these different sort of phases fitting with other kids? You know, what is it that we can do a little differently? How can we learn a little bit more about sort of A, B, and C? That's sort of really the way we looked at it, and it's been, you know, it's been good. And I can't remember. I think we've maybe done 3, or if not 3, 4 of the various phases. So we've stuck with it. And it's been very good.
Well stated. Nice job. Thank you very much for those key pieces of information.
Well, we're on to you, Melissa.
Hello,
Melissa,
back again. So, you know, very similar, so I won't go too deep. Got the newsletters, thought it looked interesting. Certainly love, you know, as Anne says, any objective assessment. I liked the idea of, you know, maybe looking more holistically across potential skill sets, because, you know, it's easy to sort of laser in the types of things you usually do in your family. Maybe there are things you aren't thinking about, like, well, probably getting ahead of one of the future questions, but, you know, with Lucy, what we uncovered there at her 2.5 was like, she wasn't quite kicking the ball the way a kid could kick a ball. And I was thinking, you know what, we don't even really kick the ball much around at home, you know, and it's just like, we're strumming ukuleles, but yeah, we should probably be kicking balls too. So it can help you round out your little Renaissance child, or, you know, but, you know, it really was more just sort of inspiring, as we say, thinking about different activities, and also just gut checking against where either child could be. And so what made us finally do it, you know, having seen that for a while, I think it was, I discovered through one of the other friends I had made at the Yahoo Crew play groups, was that she sometimes would just stay after one of the play groups and then do it with Miss Bernadette. And I know that's not a luxury that everyone can have right now in pandemic mode, but that just seemed to make it even more delightful. She was talking about how much her kids get excited about, oh, we get to go play with Miss Bernadette for a bit. And so, yeah, it was a great experience. I've only done it once a piece for Sam and Lucy. I wish we could be doing, we did 6 months with Sam and 2.5 with Lucy, and I'm bummed we aren't doing the 3 and 1, but still, it was great. I certainly will. I haven't done it yet because pandemic, jobs, no childcare, haven't had time for an online quiz lately, but I do hope to get back to it soon, because I think it was useful and rewarding to do.
great. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you. Great.
Okay, Hannah and Bill, you're on.
I had seen it on the calendar, since it's on the calendar like every. I definitely knew it was a thing. I think when Nathan was little, the development, it's so much easier to track with other, like, you read the book and they match the development kind of so closely sometimes that you're like, okay, it was a little easier to have our heads around it. I think the first time we had done ASQ was actually with our pediatrician, and we were like, oh, this is kind of cool. This is kind of fun. We enjoyed filling it out.
Oh,
and then actually made us do it was, there was a checkbox when I was filling out the form for creep and crawlers, and it was like, check this box if you want to do the ASQ. Sure. Why not? I'll let them come to me. So yeah,
That's
really
great.
having the checkbox there made it like, no, I didn't have to make a decision. I just.
That's great to know. Okay.
And then at playgroup, Bernadette delivered the envelope and we brought it home. And we're like, all right, what do we get ourselves into here? And it's really easy to just kind of, in something I was already doing, be able to check the box and not have to decide, okay, do we want to do it? Like, how do we want it? Just check the box.
Yeah.
That's a great point to keep in mind.
Yeah, I really liked it in a similar point of view to things that some other folks have already said. Like, Nathan has been behind the curve, I think is a good way to say it, for gross motor things. And similarly, we don't really like climb the stairs a lot or kick a lot of balls, just like in our regular life. A lot of the questions were actually good prompts for us, and definitely for me, to just like try out, like, oh yeah, can you kick a ball? Like, let's see. Oh, you can do that. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Or can you use use your spoon or fork as a tool to like get something that's too far away? Like we, like fools, have just been putting food right next to him, and I had no idea that he could do that. So he was, his little brain kind of. So it definitely, I think, prompted a lot of things. Like we're both the oldest in our families. None of our siblings have children, so like I'm definitely in the camp of was not exposed to a lot of young children until my own, and having those prompts of things to look for in day-to-day life, but then if they aren't naturally occurring in day-to-day life, like have ways to intervene before, or like earliest intervention is parents trying stuff on their own first. So that's been really helpful.
That's awesome.